Hi everyone and welcome back to Tennis Time. In case you haven't subscribed already to my channel, please subscribe. Today I'm going to reveal the match number 14 on the list of the greatest 20 greatest matches of all time. This is a match where the stakes have been incredibly high on the day when it's been played. I'm talking about the 2009 Wimbledon final. The Wimbledon final between Roger Federer and Andy Roddick. Why am I saying that the stakes were so high on that day? Well, Roger Federer was out to break Pete Sampras's record of 14 Grand Slam victories. He was going for his 15th. Imagine how big of a hype we have today around the big three, Nadal, Djokovic, Federer going hand to hand, and who is having the most Grand Slams, and that's being the biggest race ever in tennis. And every Grand Slam is so incredibly exciting because of it. But if we think of it today that Djokovic is the biggest pretender and he seems to be the younger of the big three and he might have a chance to catch up to Nadal and Federer. But even if we go into the next Grand Slam, whichever Grand Slam that might be, Djokovic will still have to win 3 more slams to reach Federer. And if both were at 20, or maybe all 3 of them were at 20, re-entering yet another Grand Slam and one of them potentially winning it, that would be a fantastically intriguing Grand Slam, to say the least. Well, in the 2009 Wimbledon final, the stakes were really high because Sampras wasn't playing anymore. He retired in 2002, and 7 years later, Federer was knocking on the door not just to equal his record, but to surpass it. And when he finished the year 2008, Federer was having 13 Grand Slams. So you had a feeling that next year might be the big year where he equals at least Sampras and maybe even breaks Sampras's record. And he had a very dramatic final at the beginning of the year in the Australian Open final where he lost in 5 sets against Rafa Nadal. I've already covered that in another video. Check it out if you like. Then he plays the French Open. He's been in 3 finals by then already, in 2006, 7 and 8, and he lost all of them. And now in 2009 he wins his first French Open, and with that he manages to win all 4 Grand Slam tournaments. And at the time that was yet another feat that nobody has done since 1999, so 10 years back, when Agassi won his French Open title in 1999. So again, he was rewriting record books, and the French Open just finished a month prior to Wimbledon, to the Wimbledon final, and here he was again playing Andy Roddick. It was a little bit of an unexpected final because even though Roddick has been in 2 Wimbledon finals before, in 2004 and 2005, which both, by the way, he lost to Roger Federer. He was still a very strong going top 10 player, but he wasn't really reaching the final stages of Grand Slams. And the 2009 season at Wimbledon was a little bit of a resurgence for him. And he's beaten Andy Murray in the semi-finals on the day. It was a little bit of a surprise back then, I remember, because Murray was the first real Brit contender after Tim Henman, who potentially could have won Wimbledon, and he was going really strong the year before. He's been to the semis, to the quarters, and this year in 2009 he's won Queens just before coming into Wimbledon, and he lost to Roddick in 4 sets. Having said that, Jimmy Connors was coaching Andy Roddick at the time, and he was a very big motivator for Roddick. And I think he was talked up so much that he actually did really believe that on a particular day, he can beat anybody, even Roger Federer on grass. And given the fact that the stakes were really so high, I think both played a superb match. It was a very, very high class, good quality tennis match. I remember Björn Borg sitting and watching a 5-time Wimbledon champion, somebody winning Wimbledon 5 times in a row. Pete Sampras was watching 7-time Grand Slam champion. Actually, when Sampras arrived, 2 or 3 games were already played, and he arrived fashionably late, and the crowd noticed, and everybody was cheering. I'm sure both Andy Roddick and Federer noticed that. So the great man was sitting and watching, and I don't know, maybe that was adding a little bit of extra pressure on Federer as well, trying to break the Sampras record at Wimbledon exactly on the same stage where Sampras has made his record when he won back in 2000 the Millennial Championships, and he's captured back then his 13th Grand Slam title. So having said that, another important factor was that Federer might have won Wimbledon starting 2003 to 2008. He's won 5 times in a row. But the year prior, in 2008, he lost a thrilling 5-set battle against Nadal. And here he was again trying to show that he can win another Wimbledon. I think that was also something that made him nervous. So going into the match, Roddick was starting off very strongly. He had played better in the latter stages of the first set, and he's managed to get the first set 7-5, so he's 1-up. And both were playing pretty well in the second set, everything going with serve. And in the second set tiebreak, Roddick was the man who made his first move. He got the mini breaks first, and he was 5-1 up in the tiebreak, then 6-2 up in the tiebreak. And he was serving for the set at 6-2. So basically he had 4 set points going for 2 sets to 1-up, 2 sets to love up, sorry. And Roger played a very good return, good point, came back to 6-3, won his next 2 service games. Then Roddick lost his next 2 points. At 6-5, he was serving, and he was having a relatively easy ball at the net, having to hit a high backhand volley. We know Roddick wasn't a particularly big fan of hitting volleys, but this was not a non-makeable volley. It was uncomfortable because it was very high on his backhand, but Federer was a little bit out of position already, so all he had to do, it's very easy to say that from the couch, but in all fairness to his abilities as a tennis player, he could have made that volley, and unfortunately for him, he didn't. And because of that, he definitely lost the second set. So he was 6-2 up against Federer in the tiebreak and lost the next 6 points. So we knew after that we were really gonna have a match, because if Roddick would have been 2 sets to love up the way he was playing, the mood he seemed to be in, like he looked unbreakable on his serve, would have been very difficult for anybody to break him, and even for Roger Federer, who seemed to have a very read generally on Roddick's service games. So nonetheless, the match went on. In the third set, both were holding firm on their serves, yet another tiebreak, but this time Federer was the one who started off better. He was the one leading 5-1 in the tiebreak, then 6-2 in the tiebreak, having 4 set points to go 2 sets to 1-up. Funnily enough, Roddick has taken one of the mini breaks back. He held his 2 serves, and it was 6-5 for Federer. So it was really getting tight in the third set tiebreak, but Federer held firm, big first serve, and then strong forehand. Roddick had no chance, and it was 2 sets to 1 for Federer. In the fourth set, however, Roddick seemed to have found something really deep, and he managed to break Federer did not lose his serve, won the fourth set 6-3. And it was 2 sets all going into the 5th set, so this is an incredible standing in the sense that Federer has not lost, Roddick has not lost his service for 4 sets, and it was still 2 sets all, and he's broken Federer twice. So it was a little bit of a weird situation, but considering the fact that he's won both tiebreakers, he was still very much in the match. And back in that day, in 2009, there was no tiebreaker played at any stage in the 5th set, so whoever managed to get the break and the 2-game distance or cushion between the 2 players was the one winning the match. And at 8-all, Federer serving, Roddick played a wonderful return game, and he was 15-40 up basically on Federer's serve. He had 2 break points. It's very close to breaking, but he just missed his chances. Federer was playing well, serving well, and they went all the way to 14-15 in the games. So it was the 30th service game in the 5th set where Roddick was serving at 14-15 down. He was going love 30 down in that game. He came back to 30-all. He was 40-30 up. Then it was deuce and it was advantage, and he still couldn't close out the game. And Federer broke. Federer broke in the very last game of the match. So he was somehow showing and proving to everybody that he can be really on top of his game when it's crunch time. And he was really outplayed at times by Roddick, but nonetheless he managed to serve his way out of trouble so many times. He's got broken twice in the match, Roddick only once, but that was crucial for Roddick on the very last service game because he should have held. And I think somehow it's fair that the 5th set was not decided by a tiebreak. The player who was supposed to be winning had to break the opponent's serve, and given today's regulations that cannot happen anymore because they play a tiebreak at 12-all. However, it is what it is. It's a fantastic memory, a jewelry in tennis history and in Wimbledon final history. We all know that from that point on, Roger Federer still went on and won 5 more Grand Slam titles. And we are writing the year 2020, and who knows, maybe he will be back in 2021 at Wimbledon, hopefully. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the match. I'm going to put into the description below the highlight link and the full match. It's a long match for 17 minutes, but it's a really thrilling one. It's great grass court tennis, modern grass court tennis. Feel free to check it out, and if you liked the video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot, and see you next time.